Okay, I cannot see you yet. Yes. This is Buggy Live, as always, with me, Riccardo. And as always, when you see me, we talk about foosball. Foosball in Italy, foosball worldwide, because we always like to talk about the world of foosball. And today we have a special guest, which I'm going to introduce very soon. I would say more than a player, he's doing, and he did, and he will do also a lot about football in America, but also worldwide. So, without any further ado, I'm pleased to introduce and honor to see now for the first time here at Buggy Live, John O'Brien, the president of
Wow.
Foosball Club
Good,
USA. We are very
good
pleased
morning.
to.
Good morning.
Yes, maybe,
It's a
yeah.
pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, it's morning now over there. Here is a bit maybe later than morning. Is kind of,
Hours ahead of us. Yep.
yes, 5. Let me see, 5 p.m. I think no, but yeah, early afternoon. Let's say. So okay, John, I'm very pleased to have you. So I introduce you very quickly because I was so excited, to have such an important figure in the world of football as a player and as organizer, as the president, the CEO of Football Club USA. But before we dig into this beautiful topic about the football club, I just want to ask you a quick question. As a player, how did you come across this sport, and what are your achievements also as a player?
I didn't start playing until I was in college. I grew up on Long Island, down in lower New York, and I came up to college. And my first experience on the foosball table was my roommate and I getting totally destroyed by other players because we didn't know how to play. I can remember playing it. It was a glass top vending table, so you couldn't reach in and grab the balls. And we were paying a quarter a game at that time. Is back in the early 70s. I came to school in 1974, and I really wondered if you could ever do more than spin the rods to try to smack the ball. And so we struggled. We struggled for many months to try to learn the game. And it wasn't until I went back down to my hometown during the summertime where foosball was just starting out. And so even though I was not a very good player at the time, up at my college, down on Long Island, where it was so new, I found that I could stay on the table most of the night. And so during that summer is when I became a halfway decent player. Certainly nothing compared to a good tournament player. I think I'm much better now, but back then that's what got me started, just playing at college.
Okay, so pretty busy also career, let's say, as a player, even though maybe you didn't achieve the World Cup, but we can say that you are a pro player, or you've been also. Uh,
Well, I think you said in your introduction,
yeah,
I'm not here as much as a player as
yes.
an organizer. Um, After college, I didn't play foosball for many years. I got married, started a family, and then about 18 years ago, my wife brought home a small table from the side of the road, and that was just enough to get me back into playing. And then I tried looking for foosball tables out in the bars, and there were no tables. What happened was in the
Okay.
early 80s, as many folks know, video games came and kind of pushed foosball and pinball and some other arcade games out of the arcades and the bars. And so I ended up buying a used table on Craigslist here in the United States and started playing again. And like I said, that was about 18 years ago. Um, and
Yeah, I know.
I didn't really even strive to be a tournament player or a really, pro player. But I brought my table into my school where I teach, and
Okay.
students really were excited about playing. And
Yeah,
I shouldn't have been surprised. They've been playing, video games by then, and there wasn't a whole lot of interaction. They were playing against the computer or the video arcade, and so they seemed to be really excited about playing. There was a lot of good trash talking across the table, and so I realized that okay, there's something missing in the gaming of my students. And so we looked into starting a school foosball club and program. So that's how things started.
And now, yes, we are at the main topic about, yeah, you talk about kids, so we are going to face this beautiful topic because I introduced you as the U.S. Foosball Club president. So how everything, how did you start this, reaching to be a president, or you just came up with this idea and tell us everything about this beautiful
excellent question. So at many schools here in the United States, we run after school programs, usually 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And it's a place for students to go, sometimes to get academic help, but sometimes just to play games and socialize. And in my school, in our middle school, which here was 5th grade through 7th grade or 8th grade, we started an after-school foosball program with just 2 tables. And I ran it for 2 nights a week for about 2 years. And the students, we would run in-house tournaments. And one day I said to the students, how'd you like to go play against students from other schools? And they were like, yeah, that's a great idea. But the problem was there were no other schools to play against. We were the only school foosball program that we knew of.
Okay.
And so I took my table and I started visiting other schools, putting on clinics and talking to administrators, trying to export the game of foosball to those schools. Basically becoming sort of a foosball ambassador. And one thing after another, it looked like we needed an organization. There was no organization. So some other educators and I got together and we started a nonprofit organization specifically designed to bring foosball to schools. And so that's how I got involved in this. There was a big need to organize youth foosball here in the United States, and schools are very challenging to get into because they already have their programs, they have their activities, and they really don't like change very much because they plan their budgets a year ahead of time. But schools began to see that they were not reaching all of their students with their sports. Hello. Yeah, so schools are open to the idea of foosball because it's connecting some of their students who are not involved in any other activity.
Okay.
So we organized, we incorporated Foosball Clubs USA in 2015. So we've only been around for about 4 years.
Okay, something I would like maybe for me or for those maybe still don't understand, what is the difference or between Foosball Club USA and USTSO? Are they the same or I don't know?
Excellent question. Yeah. When I first started looking into foosball to try to connect my school program with a bigger organization, I came across the United States Table Soccer Federation. That federation was started at the same time as the ITSF. What had happened, though, in about 2014, it became sort of inactive. And so the people that were running the United States Table Soccer Federation, it was an all-volunteer organization, and we're a large country, and it became a very kind of unworkable organization. And so even though on their books they had a youth organization, it wasn't functioning. And so there was no organization for my school program to become a part of. So that's why some other educators and we started our own nonprofit organization specifically targeting schools and youth. Then what happened was, as you probably know, and your listeners know, the ITSF, International Table Soccer Federation, is working toward International Olympic Committee recognition of table soccer as a sport.
Yeah, they're working out for that.
They are gathering together. They're working with countries and helping to establish federations in each country in order to achieve this goal. So they started talking to the leading foosball players and organizers here in the United States. And they reached out to me because of what we were doing with youth and said, hey, would you be head of our youth committee? And so I am the head of the youth committee for the U.S. Table Soccer Organization.
Let's say so you are a member of the ITSF organization at this point. I mean,
well, there's really like three organizations now that are working together in youth programs. ITSF, obviously, they're the governing body for all of foosball worldwide.
Okay.
And then there's the U.S. Table Soccer Organization, who is the governing body for foosball here in the United States. And then there's Foosball Clubs USA, which was started independent of the USTSO. But I am basically, Foosball Clubs USA has become the youth committee for USTSO. Eventually, as USTSO gets really strong, it may be that there's no need for a separate organization, Foosball Clubs USA. But right now, they're both independent, but working together.
Okay, that's good news anyway. So talking about youth, you talk about youth now playing. How many youth are playing organized foosball in USA through clubs related to Foosball Club USA?
When we started organizing foosball programs in schools and large youth centers, YMCAs, things like that. And
I know it.
We totaled our numbers for our report to ITSF. And last year, we had a little bit over 500 youth playing organized foosball through our various school programs and clubs. There are probably many other students playing foosball, but just not in an organized fashion. So it's kind of difficult. It's a challenge, and it's one of our goals is to network and connect these various groups. After we started, we found there were two strong programs up in Washington State that already had foosball programs going. They just weren't reaching out and connecting with other schools, but they were running very excellent programs. They now have become sort of part of what we're doing because there's strength in numbers. We want to show a network of youth foosball programs. And so we're pulling together both the groups that existed before Foosball Clubs USA, and after that, more clubs have started as a result of the work.
Yeah, you already answered me a question I was going to ask you after this about the goals that you aim into, with this club. So yeah, we already know because you answered. I mean, you're trying to start foosball, the program of foosball in school in the USA. What about, experienced foosball player in the school that there are there any foosball, maybe pro player they could teach about foosball to youth?
So is the question, school staff who are foosball players?
Yes, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is one of the challenges in starting a school foosball program. If you were trying to start a school basketball or soccer program, usually there are adults who know how to play the game. And even if they're not excellent players, at least they know the basics and they can lead a group of students. When it comes to foosball, there are many, many schools that just don't have anyone active in the school who still plays foosball. And so that is one of the challenges in starting those programs. What we're trying to do is kind of work both ends toward the middle, finding schools that want foosball programs and then finding local players who are willing to go in and become mentors and advisors and club coaches, things like that. And that's an exciting work. And we have a number of local players who have volunteered to go in and work with the school, and that is making it possible because the schools, they don't just want the students playing on the tables. They want them learning how to play well. And so by having a local player go in, that makes it possible. Sometimes we're fortunate to have a staff member at the school who also plays foosball. And that's an easier way because then you get the training and the supervision all in one person.
What about if, let's say, there is not an experienced teacher? Do you have a sort of curriculum or a program for school that they cannot afford to have, or they don't have an experienced teacher in foosball?
One of our goals, we organized an education and a skill development part of Foosball Clubs USA, and we're in the process now among ourselves, but also working with coaches from other countries. I've connected with a number of the youth committee people in other countries who are members of ITSF, and we're trying to share information on what each one is doing to bring foosball to schools. Some countries already have organized foosball in those schools, so they're able to share with us some of their methods. Now, sometimes it's specific information about a table, and so we have to adopt it for the dominant tables here in the United States. Here in the United States, we have 3 tables. There's the Tornado, Bonzini, which are official ITS tables. And then we also have a Warrior, which is a recognized table. And so we want to work with any quality tables, anything that's recognized by the ITSF, we want to work with. And so sometimes we have to adapt educational material that we find that other countries have produced, but the basics are the same. And so we're trying to put together a curriculum that we can make available to a school so that they can put it into their physical education program. Many times a physical education program will teach lifelong skills like, ping pong and cornhole and golf. And we're trying to provide them with information about foosball that they will add it to their physical education program.
Okay, so talking about again your youth, what is your experience? What impact did you see when they start to play foosball? Let's say what impact has been foosball for this youth when they start playing? They were excited, they changed, I don't know, they were always involved.
Very interesting question. When I first brought a foosball table to my school, I was not thinking about the positive impact that it would have on students.
Okay.
I was just thinking it's a fun game. And all of a sudden, I started seeing that there were students that would stick around and play foosball or come to our after-school program. And in the middle school, you can join school sports in 7th grade. And what I found was that there were students coming to our foosball class as 7th and 8th graders who were not involved in any other school activity or school sport. And yet something about foosball, it became their club. It became their team. And all the same positive dynamics of team membership and connectedness and sportsmanship that other students get from other sports, we're finding now a whole group of students are getting that from foosball, that we're not getting it anyplace else. And I was not looking for that, but it became apparent that this was a positive activity, a positive game, a positive sport for some of these students to play who didn't have a sport of their own, and now they do.
That's a big achievement, unexpected, man, when you started.
Very unexpected. I mean, I'm a very competitive person, and so for me, it was about winning, and for some of these students, it's about belonging, So we still have very active athletes who also play foosball, and so when they can, they're very competitive. But they were getting some of that connection from all of the sports that they belong to. But it's the students who aren't involved in other activities that we are really excited about. And that's given us a new message to bring to schools that, here in the United States, we have what's called the National Federation of High School Sports. And it's a national organization that oversees all of high school sports. And they put out a publication a number of years ago saying that 80% of students are involved in some sort of sport activity. And they were excited about that. And that's a good thing. But that also means if 80% are involved, 20% are not.
So
we're finding that foosball is able to connect with some of that 20% that are not involved in any other activity in school. And it's been shown that students that are involved in school activities feel more connected, and they do better academically, and they do better socially. And so there's a whole message that we can bring to schools now of that foosball can be a tool that they can use to connect with disconnected students.
So this could be another question already answered. What benefit can bring to school, to the school community to have a foosball program like you're doing? Why should they adopt this, right?
Absolutely. Just looking at who they have and who's involved, schools want to take care of the needs of their students. And if they step back and they see that, okay, there's a certain percentage of our students that are not involved in musicals or sports or clubs, foosball is just one more tool that they can use to connect with a certain group of students. And it's happening. And so we are now able to show schools that a certain population are going to connect with foosball that are not connected in anything else. But now, that being said, it's also very competitive. And so there are the sports-minded students who might be really competitive, but they're not a big football player. They're not a tall basketball player. They don't have some of the skills they need to really compete beyond, junior high or middle school, when everybody grows. They don't. And so foosball, size doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. And
I totally agree.
Students are playing equally. The little kid can compete against the big kid on a foosball table. And that's exciting to see.
Totally agree with you. So far, we talk about your work with the ITSF Education Commission. Is there anything else that you want to add about your effort that you put for this program with the ITSF Education Commission?
Well, it's very exciting because I know that your broadcast reaches all over the place, and so
we try to do our best.
You're doing a great job connecting people from various countries, and you're part of the network. And so
we try to do our best.
If there are people involved in education, foosball in other countries, we would love to have them make contact with us. Our website is foosballclubsusa.com, and we'd love to connect because we have so much to learn. We've just scratched the surface on getting foosball into schools and youth organizations. There's so much more to do. And so we want to work with other people who are having success in their country. So, please reach out to us, and we want to work with other people.
Yeah, you can give a shout again about your website, which is?
It's foosballclubsusa.com.
Okay, so
all one word. If you do a search on foosball clubs, you'll find us. We're one of the top search results, foosballclubsusa.com.
Okay, I invite whoever now is listening, which are pretty good, and whoever is good is gonna we view us later when we share with the foosball group to have a look to this beautiful site and to what our friend and guest John O'Brien is doing for this beautiful sport, because it's a sport for us, of course. not just a game.
It is
So
definitely a sport.
yes, yes, it is. So about this youth when they play, I mean they do the junior competition, as far as I know. So
Yes.
what kind of competition are available through the ITSF? I think I
I'm
saw a
glad you
couple.
asked about that because the ITSF is just made available some new competitions. Obviously, foosball is played recreationally, and that is great. But there's some folks who they want to go to a higher level. They want to play very competitively. And so the ITSF has had a junior division, but up until 2019, that was just what's called U19. So if you're under 19 at the time of the competition, you get to compete. And so if you were a serious 12-year-old and you wanted to go to ITSF competition, you had to play against, an 18-year-old. And so for World Championship 2019, that was held over in Spain, they started a new category, U16. So now you could have people under 16 competing against people their own age. Well, just a few weeks ago, ITSF announced even new categories that are going to be active during the upcoming World Championship, and that is a U13. So now they have U19, U16, and U13. Then they also added a U19 girls. So now there's just going to be a girls division. The junior competitions up to this point have all been coeducational, both guys and
Obviously,
girls playing together.
they play also mixed girl and boy together. There are
Well,
competition.
ITSF did not have that mixed in category in the junior competition, but it will starting now. And so that's so it's going to be a U19 mixed. And so it's opened up a whole new opportunity for younger players and for female players. And so it's really exciting. And we're hoping to capitalize on that here in the United States by getting more young players involved. And we're going to try to use those classifications, U19, U16, U13, in some of our tournaments here in the United States and hold more junior mixed doubles.
So yes, so far you've been really, really well explanatory, no? I mean about this beautiful work that you're doing, and I want yet to remind to whoever is listening to, for those schools they don't know yet about your clubs, to go to foosball. What is foosballclubsusa.com?
Right. Foosballclubsusa.com, all one.
Okay. So, yes, let's now talk more. I'm curious now to ask you, maybe let's say more personal question, because now staying in Europe, I know that is pretty different. Sometimes it depends on which state you go, the play style of this beautiful sport.
Yeah.
So have you had the chance to come over or to experience, let's say for example our style rather than Spanish one that also they use a different tables? Let us know your impressions, because I'm very curious to know that.
My my desire, my goal, and the focus of our youth programs is to provide a broad range of styles. We start, of course, with our dominant table here in the United States of Tornado. But even on Tornado, there are different styles of play. We're trying to introduce more speedball with our players. But we love having our students play on Bonzini and on Warrior. There's another table that's made here in the United States called Sheltie. And those have slight differences in the way they're played. But then when I went over to Spain for the last World Championship or World Cup, I got to experience even additional styles of play, which are very exciting. Now I have to admit that
the tsunami table,
fast-paced style where you can't stop the ball for more than a second, I find very challenging. Because the style over here with Tornado is a very controlled style. setting
Yeah,
up
with the
shots.
snake shot, I know that.
It's very,
Very,
very controlled, and we stress that. And so I had a funny situation watching some of our top U.S. players playing the two-leg table over in Spain, and I was joking with some of them just recently, saying, watching you guys play two-leg was like watching some of my new seventh graders just learning how to play foosball.
I know. It would be the other way around for us.
Right.
Yeah, to play which I mean, yeah, this could be also another question, because I think is also I had the chance to play Tornado, and even though it doesn't have the side ramps, I think is a very, very nice one, very precise, where the luck, luck cannot help you that much. It's more for people who knows how to play. It's more for skill.
It's much more control, much more skill, right?
Yeah, skill based.
Yeah.
I would say that, yeah. So yeah, what is as a last question, I think, which one is for you the best table, and maybe why?
Hard to say.
Hard to say.
Here's why.
Feel free.
I know the Tornado best, and so I feel most comfortable there. I would like to learn to play Bonzini better. It's a very different style. It's a lighter ball. It seems to rely more on finesse. Tornado is a very power-driven style and game, although there's finesse there as well. And my understanding is that people who play multi-table are able to merge the styles on each of the tables. And so they're able to bring finesse to the Tornado, and they're able to bring power to like a Bonzini. I'll have to say that I was really impressed with the new Roberto Sport, the Revolution table. Had a very nice feel to it. And some of my players, the junior players who went over, really loved playing on that table. I have to admit, the Garlando we're not as much of a fan of. I think we like the chiseled feet and the wedge-shaped, player bottom. The square bottom is a little bit more of a challenge for us.
Yeah, because you cannot stop the ball as you would do. Yeah, with internet.
We like that control.
Yeah. Because is for us is forbidden. Let's say you're not allowed to stop the ball in any way. Yeah. Even pass. You cannot pass in the same road. You cannot pass to the other to the other pin. It's
right, and that would be a real challenge for most of us because we depend on control.
Yeah, I know, different style. Different.
So is that your style table?
Yes. Actually, you talk about Garlando, but what I've noticed is that the Garlando, correct me if I'm wrong, whoever is listening, but it seems a bit different from the one we used to play when I was young. Because from my age and even a little bit before, we brought up in terms of foosball, playing foosball with the Garlando. But it was more like our fast Pendezza now, with the glass surface and, as I said, with the square foot. Very, very kind of flat side ramps, you were allowed to do the bank shot. I remember. Which I think is a bit different from the Garlando that they export abroad. It seems lacking of the glass surface or something like that.
And there are probably experts who could explain the changes. My understanding is that each of the tables modified their designs a little bit to become more playable by people from other countries.
Yeah, definitely. So, John, I hope one day maybe we can also meet. I don't know, even here, or if I will travel to America, have even a game with you and a nice chat together, because I was really, really pleased to have you here. Again, to learn a lot of what you guys are doing overseas about foosball. And very happy to know that and honored to have you here. If you want to add something else about your project or the future, the maybe other goals about your clubs, you want obviously maybe to expand to do something new, you feel free.
I would love. I hope you have a really broad listener base, and I would love to invite any player who's listening to this broadcast to contact us. We have numerous players who they're not connected with a school, and sometimes they think that there's nothing they can do. But there are things they can do. One of our strong programs here in New York State was started by a businessman. He owns a local hardware store. And for 3 years, he was buying up used coin-op tables and wanting to donate them to his local school. And for 3 years, they kept turning him down. They just couldn't envision how they would use a foosball table. And finally, they asked him for help in buying 2 tables for one of their student lounges. So he ended up selling them to the tables that he was going to donate. And then something opened up and they were very open to a foosball program. But it took 3 years of him trying to get into the school before they were open to it. And now that is the location of our big New York State junior foosball tournament, which is coming up in March this year. And we have 50 youth players from around the area who come to play. And so if you're a foosball player and you need help opening up a program in your school, let us know. We have many stories that we can bring and we can help you with. We can help you reach out to your administration and help them see that foosball will be a benefit to their school program.
So once again, your website is foosballclubsusa.com, where they can reach you. Okay, so now people can even see it because I just type it near
just
your.
Put it up there, huh?
Yeah, just put it because I think it's fair enough to.
Do you have plans to go to the next World Championship and World Cup?
Might be. It depends how things are going, now because we're just this is a new project that we just started 1 month and a half ago. We hope we can have the chance maybe to go where we'll be set this time because we didn't see much yet.
Yeah, it's going to be in Nantes, France.
Okay.
And it's going to be in the spring of 2021. So you have time to prepare.
Yeah, definitely we'll do our best to be there. We will be there all together as a big family, eh?
And then we can meet up and have a game.
Yeah, that's a good.
We'll have to play each other on each other's table.
Yeah, we'll do kind of the first on Tornado, the second on Roberto Sport. Which
is really exciting. My wife and I went over for the World Championship and World Cup in Spain, and we came back, and my wife is not a foosball player. Matter of fact, she teases me about how much I'm involved. But she was very impressed with the interaction between particularly the youth, because she was watching the junior events, watching the players from these different countries, from Czech Republic and Germany and Japan and China and the U.S. all interacting together, and that was impressive to her as a non-foosball player to see the multicultural international interaction. It's exciting. It really is exciting.
Yeah, this is what foosball is aiming to. I mean. And we want to interact, to aggregate, am I right? To make more people, interact rather than isolated, Just, this is what we want. Sorry, sometimes mixed up. This is the mission of foosball, because it's a sport for all, because as you said, youth can play with adults, mixed, man, woman, so sport for all and big family.
And we have a long way to go with youth. An example, there were like 40 different countries represented in the adult division, and particularly the men's division, but there were only 16 in the junior division, and so many countries just haven't developed strong enough youth programs to put together a team. And the United States, we're not as big as we want to be, but we're glad that we have a youth program going. So we look forward to seeing even more youth programs in 2021.
I'm sure you're doing a great job. So the how you say the seed, no, we are and you're planting now. Soon they will grow up. They will grow, and we will see the result. And many, I'm
We
sure many
certainly
youth.
hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, as well. So what can I say? It's been more than a pleasure to have you, and I'm sure we will meet again either in France or maybe for another pleasant and beautiful, informative chat, let's say.
Thank you very
Because,
much. You're doing a great work here. Keep
yeah,
reaching out to active players throughout the world.
yeah, you too keep up the beautiful work that you're doing with youth. I had the chance, I remember, to come to USA a while ago and to work for a youth organization which is called the Boys and Girls Club of America.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoy that. They take care of, young kids. Maybe sometimes they cannot afford to go for a vacation. So we were kind of counselor. No, we took them. I remember from Los Angeles up to the mountain, Mammoth Lakes.
Nice.
Yeah. That was a beautiful experience, and I thank also you guys in America for give me at that time the possibility to enjoy that. So
Well,
yes.
good. I look forward to us meeting up.
Yeah, we will meet again soon. For now, I greet you. I thank you again. We've been honored to have you here, and for sure we'll meet again soon. For
Great.
now,
Thank you.
yeah. You want to say something else?
No, just thank you.
Okay. Thank you. This was John O'Brien, the president of Foosball Clubs USA, which is doing a great job with youth and promoting the foosball. With the hope to see you again. I'm sure we will. For now, I say you bye and see you next time.
So
Okay?
long. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so back to us. Buggy Live. Today we had another beautiful guest and really, I know, guys, I keep saying the same thing, but straight from my heart, I was really honored to. Okay, let's move this a bit. I was really honored and pleased to have him. Hope we to interview even more people like him. And you guys are watching now, are into foosball. Keep up the good work that you're doing to promote this beautiful sport. Said that, I finished the broadcast. See you next time from Riccardo. Stefano, which is our CEO. Sometimes I forget to mention him, but without him, I wouldn't be here now talking with you guys. So I want to thank him a lot. So thank you. Now is outside. He cannot hear me. Maybe he will see that after. So thanks to my boss, Stefano Pacini. Thank to you guys that accept to have a nice live chat with me. I finish the broadcast now, so see you next time. Buggy Live, say bye.